media here. They haven't identified themselves as such. Turning Point, they're employees. They do not want interviewed. They do not want photographed. So that's their policy. And I'm sure you guys understand why. And if there is any media, please check in and identify yourself at the table back there. Media inquiries are to be directed to Master Sergeant Jack Donna. He is our public relations officer, or myself, and I prefer you talk to Jack. Let's see, refreshments will be served afterwards, as Pastor said. The Cochise County Conservatives is a 501c4 nonprofit. We are not affiliated with any party. We are conservatives. Right now, which party is that supposed to be? But we are not affiliated with any of them. We are 100% MAGA, America First. Don't know what that is. We do political and preparedness training, so we've had ham radio classes, and we partner with the fire districts to bring basic first aid to the public, things like that, as well as things like this. Wherever we see a hole that would benefit the public, we try to step in and fill it. We are also members of a couple of different coalitions in state and in DC. America First coalition out of DC reached out to us. How they found us, I don't know, but they called me and said, we would like you to be with us, and I said that would be phenomenal.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth pairing.
That's good. Okay, I got a mom's voice. I can yell. How you stay in touch with us
Bluetooth
is
connected.
the email sign-up sheet on the front. We'll send out a newsletter every so often, about once a month. Something important like this we'll send you. Otherwise, I don't have time to spam you. But if you want to keep in touch with what we're doing, that's the best way to do it. We have Cochise-County-Conservatives.com has an event calendar. There's also icons on there where you can go to our Facebook or Rumble channel, or you can just look us up on Facebook or the Rumble channel. If you like what we do and you would like to help us in our adventures, please sign up at the roster on the front table. And the most important thing is civic duty is an American responsibility. Everything that has to do with your life, period, is run by politics. You need to pay attention, right? Don't you think that'd be a great idea? I mean, I'm kind of upset about some of the decisions that have been made on my behalf. I'm sure you guys feel the same. The first one that we have up to speak is Eric Levy. He is a Turning Point Action Advocate, soon to be an employee. And he came to our Sierra Vista Turning Point town hall that we had like this and jumped in with both feet and, dove in. And he has been absolutely phenomenal. This is what, after Charlie got shot, he needed. This is what made him, he's like, I have to do something, and it just happened to be perfect timing, and he found exactly what it was that he needed to do. And so we are so lucky to have him. Eric, would you like to come up? Sure. And I'll just give you this one so I don't hang myself.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
No.
No? Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Just stick it on your...
How's that?
No.
No?
Oh, why? Try this one.
That one? Oh, that's way better.
That's,
That's the one. Okay. That's way better. All right. How's that? Good? All right. So, thank you, everybody, for coming. This is a great turnout, and everybody has an important message to talk about today. The first thing I want to do is I want to take a quick poll. All right, does everybody know what voter suppression is? Have you heard that before? All right, how many in here feel like they've been a victim of voter suppression? All right, we got a couple hands, all right, a couple hands. But I'm going to tell you right now, every hand in here should be up. All right, I'm going to tell you why. Every single hand in here should be up, including mine. All right, and I didn't realize this until recently. We've all been a part of this, and I want you to think about this. That's been through fake polls. All right, how many times have you seen a fake poll on the news? Kamala's way ahead, You know, there's no way that Trump's going to win. All right, and then you've got the fake news backing up the very thing, that very lie, right? And I want you to think about how that's made you feel. When you see that poll where, you know, Kamala's way ahead, kind of makes you feel like, this doesn't feel very good. You get that kind of weird feeling in the pit of your stomach, right? Everybody's felt that. The next way that this has happened is political correctness. All right, we've been dealing with political correctness for quite some time now. And what that is it's a form of self-censorship. Right? It gets you to think twice about what you're saying. It even gets you to maybe not say what you've been thinking. Right? It's a way to hush you. And we've been dealing with that for at least 10-ish years. The name calling, how many times have you seen on the news? Racist, Nazis, fascists, right? How does it feel to be a conservative, to believe in President Trump, and to be called that name? Doesn't feel very good, does it? Now, what is the result of that? One more question now. How many in here feel like your vote doesn't matter? Don't be shy. All right? A lot of hands went up. And guess what? That voter suppression, that's exactly how it's supposed to make you feel. You're supposed to feel like it doesn't matter. You're supposed to feel like your one vote doesn't matter. It's supposed to disengage you. And think about that being done day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, for almost 10 years now. It's basically silenced a lot of people. All that name calling, all those lies. We've become a disengaged voter base, and we have to change that. That whole silent majority. We've all heard that on the news, right? And for a while there, it kind of felt a little bit cool, like, yeah, we're the silent majority. It's not cool, right? All the problems that we're having in this country, it's been a result of that, because we've become disengaged. And we have to step up, and we have to get engaged. Our vote absolutely matters. We have to get away from that thought that, you know, each of us can't do anything. We have to get away from that, because it's really up to us. This is where it happens. All the campaign advertising on TV, all the yard signs, those can be effective to an extent. But what really matters is that we're all being engaged and that we're all doing our part and that we're voting. That silent majority, let's go back to 2022, the 2022 midterms, and I'm bringing that up because the 2026 midterms are coming up. 71% of the people that voted for Trump, they showed up in 2022. That's not 100%. Well, that left a deficit of approximately 22 million people. That is a problem. Think about 22 million people spread out all across the country. That's because, you know, that was what caused that. It was supposed to be this massive red wave, right? And it really wasn't. You know, a lot of people were disappointed. I was disappointed. But I also didn't vote then, right? I was one of the disengaged voters. And if you're one of those people, think about, yes, yeah, I do. I feel bad. I do. I am ashamed. I'm admitting that because I want you to realize that we've all been there at some point. And if you have been there at some point, it's time to change that. It's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable for us to be disengaged and to expect results. How can we expect results when we're not doing our part? We have to show up. And how does that happen? Well, it all starts with each and every one of us. We each have to have a vote. We each have to vote. We have to have a plan to vote. But then the next step is going to be your friends, your family, reaching out to them and saying, hey, what is your plan? You know, everybody's heard of that ripple effect, right? How everything just kind of like spreads and it compounds as time goes on. And the best example that I can give of that is if you had a penny starting off on day one, if you had 1 penny and you doubled it for 30 days, anybody have an idea how much that would be? It's a lot of money. It's just under $5,400,000. All right, so think about this room right here. I mean, there's got to be 50, 60 people in here. Now, if each and every one of us talk to one person, we've doubled that. And you keep doing that. It's the same thing, all right? So it's really important to look at it from the perspective that we all matter, our votes matter, and we all have the ability to do something. We all know a family member that might not be registered. Get them registered. We all have family members that might be registered, and maybe they just are like, my vote doesn't matter. No, it does. And you need to be the one to convince them of that. And it's not that hard. Just get them to realize that their vote does matter and that we've become disengaged. There's going to be representatives here from Turning Point. Austin, he's going to be talking to all the young kids out here about the Turning Point chapters in either high school or college. Kristen's going to be talking about coalitions. She's here to talk about that. Cheryl's going to be here talking about Chase the Vote. There's a lot of ways that you can get involved, but at the very least, you have to have a plan for yourself. And then the next step is whoever else is in your family and your friends. Expectation is a big deal because expectation can set us up for failure or it can set us up for success. All right, and what am I talking about? If you go into something expecting one thing and it actually turns out to be something else, it's going to be difficult. And there's a guy, his name is David Goggins, and he has this one phrase. It's a rule that he lives by, and I love this one because he says, stop looking for finish lines. And what does that mean? All right, there's going to be things in life where there's a definite finish line. You go run a 5K, a 5-kilometer race, there's going to be a finish line. All right, but there are certain things in life that keep going. There's no really end to that whole thing, and that's what this is, voting. Our elections, there is no finish line. It needs to be that we're engaged the whole time. Every single presidential election, every single midterm election, and all the special elections that are happening during that time, we need to be informed about that. And it's not that you have to do it right now, but you need to start thinking about that plan for these things that are going to be coming up. And a lot of us need reminders. I need reminders, right? It's too easy to get distracted. It's way too easy to go to an event like this and to get that sense of like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then just kind of like let it happen and let it fade, right? So reminders are like a big deal. And in my garage, I put up on that table over there, I have that poster of Charlie, and then I have that This Is Our Turning Point poster that I got from the memorial. Those are my reminders. They're in my garage. They're in a place that I will see them 3-4 times a day, whether I'm going outside to go work out, whether I'm taking the trash out, whether I'm going to go run an errand. I have to walk by there, and I see it every single time. And some of you, I've already given a reminder that I made for everyone. It's the election card that has all of the deadlines that are going to be coming up for this midterm. And there's also like a magnet. And I would love it if each and every one of you grabbed one, took it, and stuck it on your fridge, because everybody's going to go to their fridge at some point, multiple times a day, right? I want that to be your reminder. And the only thing that I asked in exchange is, if you could and you feel comfortable, is leave me your name and your number and your email. That way I can follow up, because I really feel it's that important. It's so important that we're all doing what we need to do. Just like Debbie was saying, prior to Charlie's assassination, I wasn't involved in any of this. They went after Trump, and I felt a level of anger when I watched that video of them attempting to kill Trump, and then when I watched the video of Charlie being murdered, it was like a whole different level. It was like this righteous anger that I felt, and in that moment when I saw it, I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm doing something. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to be doing something. And so if that day is today, or if you had another day, it takes time to figure out where you're going to go with something, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But don't lose that feeling. Keep that feeling in your heart and stick with it, and know that you absolutely can make a difference. Because, let's just face it. There are two sides in this country now, and the other side, the radical left side, they want a very different vision of America than what we want. The other thing is we have to come together, as conservatives and on the right. We agree on all the big stuff, and there might be some small things that we disagree about, but that's okay. All right, we need to stop being divided on the little things and realize that we're united on the big things and we need to stick together. And, you know, and it's like I said earlier, I was a disengaged voter for a long period of time. All right, so when I'm up here saying this, I was the guy, all right, but that all changed. And and anybody that feels the same, you know, you've been that disengaged voter, now's the time to get engaged and to remain engaged from now until, you know, the rest of our life. But not only that, but to talk to the people that are in your lives, whether you're in like a club, there might be like a club that you're in, talk to those people. How many of those people are they registered? If they're not, maybe you can help them register. Do they have a plan to vote? Do they know what the deadlines are? That can be up to you. And that's something that you can do to get them, to help them out, to make sure that they show up and vote. If we want lasting change, we have to get involved and stay engaged. All right, it's real easy to complain about something, but what are we doing about that? All right, if we're not voting, it's kind of like, well, we're letting it happen. And that's exactly what's been happening. There's a guy, his name is Chase Hughes. He's got a YouTube channel. And I saw this quote on one of his YouTube videos, and I loved it, and I'm going to finish with this. It says, when a population remembers itself, suppression becomes extremely hard. I think we've forgotten who we are. And that voter suppression created a lot of that. It really created this sense that, you know, what we feel and what we can do, like it really doesn't matter. Well, I'm going to say it one more time. When a population remembers itself, suppression becomes extremely hard. If we get engaged and we stay engaged, there's no way to suppress our votes. So think about that when you go to sleep tonight and tomorrow. And does anybody have any questions for me? Yes?
Where does Arizona stand on proof of citizenship and being able to vote? We were at a doctor's office, and there was a table that was trying to get people registered.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, how are you proving that these people, whoever gets registered, have citizenship?
Yeah.
And they don't have an answer.
So the 100% honest answer is I'm not 100% sure, but Kristen or Cheryl will be able to answer that. Kristen?
Thank you. So in the state of Arizona, you have to prove that you're a citizen to get a full ballot. So to vote in the state of Arizona, you have to prove you're a citizen by filling out questions 9, 10, and 11 on the voter registration form. It is on the voter registration form, and it's consistent, as far as I know, across the country, that, but I can speak on Arizona, if you do not prove proof of citizenship, you will get a federal-only ballot. Okay? So did you guys hear what I said? If you do not prove you are a citizen, you will get a federal-only ballot. So, state of Arizona, if you're a citizen, you prove you're a citizen, you get all of the Arizona election full ballot. If you do not prove you're a citizen, you get federal only.
Disconnected. Bluetooth pairing.
Could I ask you another question?
When you walk into any DAV, the first thing they ask you is if you're registered to vote. So if you sign up and say that you want to register, you just give them your name, and is that when they send you something that proves you're a citizen?
If you do not give last 4 digits of your social, your date of birth, your driver's license, if you do not give those identifying documentations, you get a federal-only ballot. If you give all those forms of documentation, then you will get a full Arizona ballot.
Okay.
So if you don't prove you're a citizen, you get to vote for the president.
Yep.
Great.
Now, you're not allowed to. It's a federal crime to, but this is exactly why every single one of us should be pressuring our representatives to pass the SAVE Act. This is exactly why. And did
Yeah.
you have one more question, Jerry?
I was asking along the same line she was asking, because when I moved here in 2002, I was horrified that when I went to get my license, I think it was reciprocal and they just gave me a license. they asked me about registering to vote. And I just kind of answered some questions. Do you certify that you're a U.S. citizen? I could be Tom, Dick, and Harry. I could be
Yeah.
anybody. And of course I am, so I clicked yes. But any Tom, Dick, or Harry could. I never got asked, you know, it was a long time ago, but I don't recall them asking me for my social or anything.
Well, the DMV might actually have your driver's license number. So I will say that. That might be why because they could actually prove that you have a driver's license and stuff because it is at the DMV. But I will tell you guys, every couple of years, Arizona, my.arizona.vote, double check your voter registration. Make sure that you're the correct party. Make sure that you're an active voter. Double check all of that. My.arizona.vote. Check those occasionally.
This is more a comment based on what Eric is saying about getting involved. I went to a ceremony for a friend of mine that was becoming a citizen, and there was probably 100 people there that were getting their citizenship. When we walked out the door, the Democratic Party had a table outside and were signing people up to get registered. The Republican Party had nobody there. When I called the Republican Party in Phoenix, they said, well, yeah, that's a good idea, and that was all I heard. So if we're going to get involved, there's lots of ways of doing it, and that's one thing. You need to start encouraging the Republican Party to start going after those people that are becoming citizens right then and not letting the Democrats have the lead on it.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I got a big voice. I know for a fact that the Department of Transportation Secretary is aggressively working with the Department of Transportation Secretary is working aggressively to change those rules about the driver's license. They're on it. So hopefully that will help us out.
You know, there's all these are great points, and there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and we don't want to get discouraged. We still have to stay engaged. You know what I mean? We're not always going to be happy all the time, but we still need to be doing what we need to do. All right? So make sure that you're staying engaged, and don't forget to get your reminder in your fridge because it's very important. Thank you.
I got one
Oh,
thing to
sure,
add to what that gentleman just said too, but also the real ID where you have to get the star on your driver's license, which you have to prove to the DMV to be able to even purchase that. And I was under the impression that was actually a federal law that everybody had to have it to be able to leave the country or to even fly on a plane. So hopefully that the Save America Act and that portion of it will be that much more secure moving forward.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Oh, did you have?
One more comment. One of the things I try to do is get young people to run for office. And so please encourage all your people in your community. Government starts locally. Starts with your city council, it starts with your school boards, it starts with your county supervisors. Starts with, for example, in our area, the Cochise College Board, because they also dictate what our property taxes are. Most people don't know that. But the point is, a lot of us are at a point where maybe you can't run or don't run. I tell you that's crazy, but you really need to start encouraging people to run for local offices. The more we can get conservatives to be in charge of this stuff, the better our communities are going to be.
Folks, just keep it, the microphone is so the people on YouTube can hear the questions, okay?
We all good? All right, on the Cochise County Conservatives website, if you go to the tab that says Voter Resources, because I get really tired of trying to remember all these websites for me to do this, that, and something else, like check my voter registration, we have all of those shortcuts on our website. So if I have to look it up, I put it on our website because I don't want to look it up anymore. So it's very easy. Just go to the Voter Resources tab on the Cochise County Conservatives. You can check your registration. You can register to vote. I just changed registration for one of the admins. You can go on there and check everything, change everything, do your mail-in, not mail-in, do your whole 9 yards. It's all on there, and it's directly through the Secretary of State. So all the shortcuts are on our website, which makes it pretty handy. All you got to do is remember one, and then all the rest of them are there. And if there's something you need that you don't find on there, call me. I'll put it on there. So our next one that's up is Austin Albright. He is Turning Point USA, which is the 501c3. Turning Point Action is a 501c4, just like us. It was Tyler Boyer who told me to file as a C4. He's the one that does all of the college and high school chapters. So all of you kids that want to be involved, Austin is your guy. And here you go, Austin. And it's a homeschool thing too.
All right, good morning. How's this sound? Pretty good? Good. All right, thank you everybody for coming out. My name again is Austin Albright. I'm with Turning Point USA's Club America program. Club America is the high school program for Turning Point. Again, as Debbie was saying, we are a 501c3, so legally we do not endorse candidates, legislation, we don't get involved with elections. We do voter registration, a lot of voter registration, but those things are what Kristen, Eric, Cheryl are here for. They are the C4. So just an important distinction as we go ahead. So for the first slide here, who am I? My name again is Austin Albright. If you arrow one more, we'll get the text up there. I am the Cactus representative for Turning Point USA. So again, I live in Tucson. My territory is Southern Arizona, New Mexico, and then El Paso. We have about 40 high school chapters, majority of them in Southern Arizona. We actually just started up a Benton High School chapter very recently, so shout out to those guys. They're with us today. We're super thankful. So very excited. Just a little bit about my story. I am from Detroit, Michigan. I grew up there for 23 years before I moved to Tucson, and I've been in Marana for about 2 years now. So who we are, so again, like I said, Club America is powered obviously by Charlie's 501c3, Turning Point USA. Our goals are to empower students to promote free thinking, engage in the community, and bring their beliefs to life. Some connections we've made, we have state and federal partnerships. So upcoming actually on April 15th, all of our Club America students are invited to the Arizona State Capitol in Phoenix to meet their representatives, get a tour of the grounds. They get to have lunch with their state legislators. So even, we're having like Juan Ciscomani and Andy Biggs, they'll write letters to the school so the kids can skip out. So really cool stuff like that. We have our national conferences. So the most recent one was America Fest in Phoenix, which I'm sure everyone is pretty familiar with. We do that actually several times a year. So the next one coming up is our Women's Leadership Summit in Texas. That is in June. That is for women of all ages to go and hear from the top Christian and conservative leaders in the movement. If anyone knows Allie Beth Stuckey, Alex Clark, Brett Cooper, Erica Kirk, all of these leaders will be there to talk to the ladies. So that's in June. And then after that, in July, we have our Chapter Leadership Summit. So this is only for high school students and our college students. It is completely free. In fact, when students register, we will give them a $600 travel credit basically to attend the conference in DC. Hotel is completely provided, meals are provided. There's some really cool opportunities coming from the White House. So this is going to be like a one-of-a-kind opportunity for our kids to get hands-on leadership training for the first time ever being in DC. It's actually funny, the last time we did this, it was in Detroit. And so I was like, yeah, it's in Detroit. And then they were like, yeah, a bunch of our staff got mugged walking to the conference. So I go, oh, sorry, okay, maybe it's not that great. So anyway, it's in DC now. The streets are all cleared up thanks to the National Guard, so it'll be great. So that's just a couple of things there. We also have a partnership with the Department of Education. So they are actually doing a high school tour right now. They're going to a bunch of different high schools across the country. Erica has been involved with those. It sounds like, this may be an inside scoop, but it sounds like the Vice President may be jumping on board. So really, I mean, we are trying to give as many leadership opportunities to the high schools as possible. And that's one thing too, is when we host these big events, we want the students to take credit for that. We want them to put it on their resume, hey, my high school hosted the Vice President, the Department of Education. So a lot of cool stuff like that. We also, with the Department of Education, we have a lot of scholarship opportunities. So the latest one is, it's actually a U.S. history trivia game, and the top 3 competitors will get to go to DC for a chance to win $250,000 for our Club America students. So just a lot of really cool stuff like that. We've done a lot of work with pro-life groups. So the big one, Hands of Hope in Tucson, they'll come and do a bunch of our events. They offer, volunteer opportunities for the students to learn more, how to get involved, tours of their, building and stuff like that. And then also church partnerships. So we've done worship nights with the chapters where like the church youth group and band and stuff will come and join our kids for worship nights. We do that all the time, like at University of Arizona. I think they just did one last week, actually. Another thing for homeschool students, right? If they need a place to meet, a lot of churches will open their doors for the homeschool kids to meet as well. Watch parties, like when we did the State of the Union a few weeks ago, our homeschool kids will actually meet up with their churches and watch those together. So really cool stuff, all different ways to get involved in the community. So if we go next slide there. So this is, again, our Chapter Leadership Summit. So before we get to the video, the flyer on the right, again, this is in beginning of July, completely free for students. In fact, we will give them $600 just to attend, basically, for travel. So here's our little promo video.
Washington, D.C. This is where the leaders of our nation go to make the decisions that shape America. But right now, the next generation of leaders isn't walking the halls of Congress. They're on campus. Your campus doesn't need silence. It needs conviction. It needs courage. It needs students willing to step forward when silence is easier. And if you're waiting for someone else to pick up the mic, don't. Leadership is not optional anymore. At the Chapter Leadership Summit, you learn how to build something that lasts, how to organize, how to communicate, how to lead when the pressure is real and the cost is personal. CLS is where Charlie's legacy becomes your voice. Apply now. Join us at the Chapter Leadership Summit. His legacy, your voice.
All right. So that is one of our next big conferences coming up. So as we jump to the next slide there, that's something for the students to think about. Again, more connections. So this is our El Paso homeschool chapter meeting in their church. They invited 4 different pro-life ministries from El Paso to come out and talk about the work that they're doing, how students can get involved. We opened it up to the whole community, so we had, guests of all ages to come and learn what these organizations are doing and how to help them. So we really try and partner and bring these groups together where they otherwise, might not get to share the stage that way. So that's one example. The next one, so on the left, former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, a few weeks ago, kind of same thing. Her team had reached out. They're like, hey, we're going to be in Phoenix. Like, Secretary Noem would really like to meet our Club America students and just kind of give them some encouragement, and raise some ideas. So we brought out 70 students to the airport, and they got to spend like an hour with Kristi Noem, taking photos, signing books, signing hats, talking, praying with her, just like basically, hey, the secretary wants to hang out with a bunch of students. Like, okay, here we go. So that's one thing we do. Another example, we had Brandon Tatum and Jeff Utch, who is a Navy SEAL combat swimming instructor, came out to our Pima County homeschool chapter. So same thing, they got together at the church there. Jeff is a good friend in Tucson. He knows Brandon. He's like, hey, I told Brandon, I was going to be doing this event. He wants to come down too. So we had, 2 phenomenal megastar speakers, come hang out with our homeschool kids. So we really, again, just try and give them as many opportunities for leadership as possible. So going forward, what do we believe? Traditional American values, God-given rights, liberty, and limited government outlined in our founding documents. So with that, we get our, obviously the Constitution. With the Bill of Rights, we love our First Amendment and our Second Amendment themes, and we want to display these in fun ways. So we host, debate games, Second Amendment themes, airsoft. We do firearm instruction with USCCA. So just a lot of educational and engaging ways to celebrate those themes. Or in simpler terms, faith, family, freedom. We believe in free markets, limited government, and fiscal responsibility. Okay. Some more events. So these are additional opportunities to gather with like-minded friends to enhance the community around them and develop, again, those leadership skills and values. So we do a lot of community service, letters to veterans, campus cleanup. We do trash pickup as well. Voter registration, like I was saying, is a big one. That's actually, so coming up, and a lot of people ask, like, how do students register to vote if none of them are 18? We just partnered with Vote Online to do, it's like a pledge to vote. So younger students, as young as 13, can pledge to vote, and then when they turn 18, we will send them all the information, how to register, what elections are coming up, where do you go to vote, and things like that for the younger students to be reminded, because we all know students need to be reminded. So we've done even more food drives, diaper drives, like I was saying, the highway cleanup, the campus cleanup, things like that. If we go one more forward, we have the free speech platform. So like I was saying, the debate games, we do like the Jubilee style videos for the students to practice their speaking skills. We've done prayer circles. Prayer at the poll is still a big one, so we'll partner with other clubs to do that, like Fellowship of Christian Athletes, things like that. When schools were doing the ICE walkouts, right, you'd have hundreds of kids walking out of school to protest ICE, and our kids would be gathering around the flagpole to pray for law enforcement. So the little things like that go a really long way, and it's leadership opportunities for the students, right, to make a difference. So, we also have done, again, going back to the Second Amendment themes, paintball, laser tag, airsoft. We bring in police officers and veterans to talk about firearm safety and just those really fun topics. So good there. So these are some photos. Again, on the left is our campus repaint, and that was in Marana up in Tucson. So the school cafeteria right outside, they had all these rusted beams. Our Club America students just asked, hey, what if we picked a day after school to come and repaint the campus? So simple example there, or trash pickup on the right photo. This was a huge campus, also in Marana. We did a day where we just walked around looking for trash. We brought in gloves and bags and just made a difference, just like that. Some more photos here. We have a video on the left. This was our Youth for Life event in February. This was, as far as we could tell, the first ever pro-life youth focus event. So we brought out 200 students in Pima County to come and learn about defending the unborn, learning the arguments. We had games, prizes, in and out, popcorn. Kristen was there. It was awesome. One-of-a-kind event. So, and that was, I think we had, I forget what the numbers were. I think we had like 20 different schools represented, and like 50 homeschool students came out. So really, bringing the whole community together, and letting all the students kind of see, like, oh, I'm not in this by myself. There's hundreds of kids just like me. So we'll get to the video on the left there.
Country. You answer that question every single day because you are doing the work to save this beautiful republic. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
So that was that event, really high energy. Like I said, we try and make these things as fun as possible for the students so that they want to stay involved, get engaged, invite their friends who otherwise, maybe they don't care about learning about, the pro-life movement or the First Amendment. But if we say, hey, we're going to have games and prizes and, it's going to be hype, then you get stuff like that. So we also have our education resources. So this is on our Club America High School resource page. We make it as easy as possible for students to host their meetings. So any topic that they want to discuss, this is not even half of the available options. If they want to learn about how to register to vote, the importance of our military and veterans, the First Amendment, taxes, capitalism, homeschool education, Flag the Classroom is probably my favorite one. There is a huge initiative in the public schools right now to basically remove the flag from the classroom. I've seen it in Tucson. It's optional, basically, if students want to display the flag. I've even seen pride flags instead of American flags, which is crazy because our state code says that the flag and the Constitution must be visible in every single classroom. I've seen it once. I've seen one classroom that had a flag and a Constitution, and I was blown away. And I don't know who mandates this, like if it comes from the Department of Education or the state or the board, I don't know, but it's pretty shocking, and this is our initiative to bring back the importance. Yes, sir?
Sorry, who's supposed to enforce that?
I don't know. Apparently me. I don't know. Because I asked the teachers, I'm like, hey, like, what are we doing about this? They're like, I don't even know where to go and get a new flag or a legible copy of the Constitution as outlined in the state code. Yes.
We have them in our classrooms, and the principal brings them around. Oh, sorry.
The principal, okay, well, that says a lot because I've met a lot of principals who are no fan of mine. So maybe that's why. But yeah, we'll have to get to the bottom of that.
Again, a comment, the Department of Education fights any prayer in school. For example, the Congress gets to pray before they meet, our city council gets to pray before they meet, and school boards cannot pray before they meet.
I don't know, and that brings up another good point. So it used to be every classroom was mandated a moment of prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, they changed it to a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Now most schools don't even do either. That's another thing we're bringing back is talking with school boards and saying, hey, the students are saying that their homeroom class isn't doing the pledge. Students are sitting, so trying to bring these things back. Yes?
They have taken the flags out of the schools, in some schools, in Washington State, where my great-grandsons go. There's no flag.
I believe it, yeah, I've seen it. So we're just trying to instill those values, talk about the importance, and then also, again, give students the leadership opportunity to bring these things back and say, yeah, I restored the pledge and the flag, in my school, which goes a long way. So that's one example.
So I know
Yes.
there's contractors and volunteers that are hired in school systems. There's people that are like short-term subs that become long-term subs that are not certified teachers. I think that has to be some area of look at, because I worked in a school where they hired subcontractors for professional, not certified positions, and they would have like cultural flags, like, for example, in Tombstone, this person had China flags, not an American flag on the board. And I said, I don't want to be in this room where we're having a meeting where you have all the Chinese flags and all the paraphernalia, and there's not an American flag in this classroom. But it was because it was like not a certified teacher, students didn't always go in, it was a professional working within the school district. I think those areas of need to be addressed as well.
100%, right, and that was Charlie's biggest claim too, is COVID, wiped out some of our longest and best teachers, 20, 30, 40 years in the school districts, and then replaced them with college graduates who are insane. And now we have this whole new generation of teachers who are like, a few years older than me and like totally loony. So it's yeah, seriously. Yes, sir.
So I have two grandsons that are part of this Club America, and they came down to our church down in Mustang Mountain Cowboy Church in Whetstone, and the young mission leader there mentioned it, and next thing you know, that after the service is over, they were all signing up for this stuff. So it's just an amazing program. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I think this might actually be the last slide before we get into some more questions.
I think the statistics are that 70% of the teachers in the classroom are non-certified, and all it takes is a GED.
Oh boy.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
You register with the state, you show them your GED, and you have a fingerprint card. That's all it takes.
Yeah, and that brings up even more concern, right? If looking at the average like graduation statistics or proficiency, right? Proficiency in math, English, history, or whatever. They're like under 30% across the board. Very concerning, yeah. And we just keep, bringing in these new teachers who maybe shouldn't even be there. Very concerning, yeah. If we jump to the next slide, one more. Okay, so additional opportunities, just to wrap up really quickly here. One more for the text. Okay, so whether your passion is in politics, entrepreneurship, ministry, entertainment, or even law enforcement, the Club America program is a great way to develop those specific skills. And then we have, if we go forward one more, some examples. So we do a lot of internships with the White House and in DC through our college chapters. We're hiring like crazy. Obviously, you'll hear that a lot from Turning Point Action. Turning Point USA is also doubling our field program, so bringing on more reps like me, basically to every major city in the country. We have a brand new program. If my pitch doesn't sound very good for it, it's because I just found out about this yesterday. We're bringing out campus coordinators, so it's basically ways for students, teachers, parents, even community members to work part-time for Turning Point USA, basically to boost their local chapter through voter registration, helping them with events. It's basically the criteria I've heard is you'll have a goal of 10 or 20 voter registration forms per week, or like we were saying with the students, if you just pledge 20 students this week to register, take pictures and stuff, we will pay you on a monthly basis. It's monthly contracts. So each month, obviously students are very busy. There's things coming up. If they're like, hey, this month I'll be around, I'm going to register all my friends to vote, they can technically work part-time for TP USA. That goes as well for the teachers and the parents if they want to help with that. So really cool initiative coming out. We're launching it April 1st. So that'll be very exciting if anyone's interested in that, any students or teachers that want to learn more. We also have our letters of recommendation, the resume boost, again, circling back to the leadership opportunities. We want to give students all of the credit for these events so they can go and show future employers and schools what they accomplished, and then the scholarship opportunities that I was mentioning. So that is it for me. We'll go into some questions here. If we go one more click, maybe two more. There's a couple bullet points there. Yes. Okay. Questions? Yes, sir.
So I'm a teacher for a middle school in Huachuca City, and I'm happy to report that at my school, every classroom has the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and not just a little dinky flag, but big flags. And they are part of the Tombstone Unified School District, so I'm really interested to learn more from my superintendent about the China flag situation.
Yeah.
But I do know for a fact that because of the lack of teachers that are available, because the pay is so, well, we know, that they're actually importing teachers from other countries to teach our students. So that's clearly, some of them are great, some of them are not so great. And then you speak about some of the kids just out of college who have a certain amount of insanity. That's 100% truth because they're being indoctrinated by the Democratic Party. The other part of that too is what you spoke about with somebody not policing the classrooms to verify that they're following state law and federal law, because we do the pledge and then we have a moment of silence every day in my classroom because I get to do the announcements for the whole school every day, which is pretty awesome. I bring in kindergartners or sixth graders or whatever, I change it up every day. But the superintendent of schools is actually the person in charge of correcting the fact that the flags are not being flown properly in the classroom. So I know that some of the leaders that you have here probably could make a phone call to Tom Horn, who, by the way, is a staunch supporter of the American flag from my understanding, but I can't confirm or deny that. But I think that'd be a great place to start because, I would leave the classroom and I would go to every school in the state to verify that they have a flag and a constitution because I'm a Marine and I'm like, excuse me, what are you doing? you got to follow state law. But anyways, I love the program. I got kids that are going to high school, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. I agree. Yeah, 100%.
Firstly, Austin, sorry for sidetracking you earlier with the question. So, my question for you was regarding, well, you mentioned Juan Ciscomani, and then also Eric had brought up something regarding voter suppression. So I wanted clarification. Firstly, with the voter suppression, that would be illegal votes, correct?
What is the question?
Voter suppression, does that equate to the illegal votes? People that are voting that aren't citizens?
Voter suppression really is tactics that are used to basically get you to feel like your vote doesn't matter, to silence you, and things like that, to get you disengaged. The fake news, the fake polls, all of those are examples of ways to make you feel like your vote doesn't matter, because that's what they want. They want you disengaged, and they want you to feel like your vote doesn't matter. That is voter suppression in a very basic, general sense.
Gotcha, okay. And then where do we stand on Juan Ciscomani? Because as far as I know, he's a rhino.
I don't talk about Juan Ciscomani as a candidate, but as an elected official, I know he does a lot of events for our kids. He can talk to them, about the process, being involved in Congress. Like I said, they're organizing the tour of the Capitol from our state legislators. So that's kind of, we work with elected officials who want to work with us. We don't endorse them. That doesn't come off as telling people who to vote for, because we don't do that, but correct. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, firstly, I want to thank you for your time today. You are absolutely amazing, and I completely agree with everything that you say. My question for you is, would you have any more events, kind of what you're talking about with the fun events, maybe in Arizona, that I could maybe check out?
Definitely, yeah. You'll have to stop by the Club America table there. Last night I was in Sierra Vista at Cavalry Chapel. We had the homeschool students, Veritas, the Buena High School students. There's another private school there. They all came out and we watched the new Angel Studios movie, Truth and Treason, right? The theme was propaganda. It was this World War II movie about these, I think in real life they were 16 or 17 years old, and how they fought the Nazi propaganda in Germany, and kind of relating it back to things we've seen recently, like with COVID and stuff, and just a fun movie night. And same thing, we had pizza, we had popcorn. So absolutely, we'd love to get you involved. Same goes for the Benson chapter. Any events they want to do, if they want to host something at the church or bring in a speaker, we'd love to invite everyone out. I know we talked about doing something for the homeschool students as well. So absolutely, yeah, we want to provide as many opportunities for students to get involved, and not just, so everyone has to drive an hour to Tucson to come out, but to bring it here to Benson and Tombstone and Wilcox and Sierra Vista. So yeah, for sure, absolutely.
And you said it is with college students as well, they can attend?
Yeah, even middle school students, come to a lot of our events. Parents as well, especially for the homeschool groups. So yeah, they're family friendly for sure.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.
So when we discuss the issues about the hiring process of teachers in the state of Arizona, we can't miss the fact that we're 49th in spending in education, and that literally just locally 15 years ago, the teachers of Benson, they took a pay cut. They didn't take it in their checks, they took it in their benefits, which still equals a pay cut. So when we're cutting instead of raising the financial incentive for teachers, we're going to be lowering the bar. In addition to that, my children receive ESA funding, which is basically the educational funding gets recycled back to homeschooling children. My children get plenty of money. They get $7,000 to $8,000 per child per year, which means that if we are not putting that money towards education of our children in the public school system, there is a misallocation of funds that needs to be investigated. In addition to that, one of the answers to the increase of homeschooling 15 years ago was the start of the K-12 program, the first online public education school. That way parents who didn't feel comfortable homeschooling and taking over their children's education still had their children in the public school system, which meant the public school system still got the money. This was pre-ESA, and their child still got educated at home, minus the bullying, and it allowed some more control to be asserted over the population. Well, then Qatar started funneling in money. And who is the primary writer of curriculums for the K-12 program alone is Qatar. And they are putting in more money in our country's education than we're putting in, especially locally. So they're having control over our education. They put in enough money that they're allowed to place faculty in our schools, both online and in person. So when we talk about foreigners coming in as teachers that may have a subversive agenda to the American government, that needs to be addressed as well.
Wow, yeah, absolutely. School board elections are like incredibly important, and they come down to sometimes like 10 votes can change, a school board, and that's the difference between a school being shut down during COVID and remaining open, or masks and 6 foot, social distances and not. So yeah, the school boards are super valuable. I think that's something that needs a lot more attention.
He's on a school board.
Good, yeah. Okay, let's do one more, and then we'll pass on to Kristen, please.
Letting Qatar finance our public school system, we're just going to get a whole bunch of Tucker Carlsons.
Yeah.
We all see what's happened recently through his financing.
Yeah, or how about, I don't want to get sued, I read this on Facebook, but Tucson Unified, providing ICE training for staff to protect students from ICE officers. Like, if that's true, and it is true, and I read it on Facebook, that's, taxpayer funded. So you're absolutely right, and there's a lot more in Tucson Unified, but we'll save that. So, okay, anything else for me before we move on? I'll be out hanging out here afterwards, so. Yes.
One comment, I am on the school board, and I'm the reason that none of you have an excuse for not being on some board. I try to encourage people to join or get on or to run for office because, first of all, it doesn't cost you a lot of money. You do not have to have any special qualifications except you got to have common sense, you got to be able to ask questions, you got to be able to challenge, and you have to be able to demand alternatives, i.e., we're going to do this. Okay, fine, I want 3 alternatives, not just one. I want 3. As far as schooling goes, I believe in the ESA program. I believe that we should be able to support our homeschoolers 100%. We do have some in our high school at Buena. We do have foreign teachers, but most of them are from the Philippines. The ones I have worked with or interviewed are top-notch. They're better than the teachers we have in terms of math and English go, even English. So I kind of support the program if we can't get enough teachers, but I don't know anything about the Qatar getting involved with our education system. I will say that our school system has purchased a curriculum program I totally disagree with because they call it culturally relevant training, and people understand the word CRT from another perspective, but that's what they call it. So I do have some problems with it. Well, I can't change anything by myself because I'm one conservative voice among 5, which my negative vote means nothing for the other 4 positive votes. So until we get people to step up and run for, government starts locally. It starts locally. If we don't control our city councils, our school boards, our county supervisors, we conservatives, then we get what we pay for. We get what we deserve. And that's what we're getting right now. The city council can raise their salaries with nothing to stop them at the top because the city council doesn't vote against it, okay? So again, if we want change, then we've got to get involved, and we've got to get younger people to step up and start running for office. And it doesn't make any difference what office you're running for in the local community, whether it's for judge, or if it's something else, because if we don't run for office, we get what we get. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of people that just want to say, I'm on the city council, I'm on the school board, I get to go to all the conferences. No, that's not what you want. You want leadership, just like you said. So, anyway, sorry.
Great note to end on. Yeah, seriously. Thank you, guys.
So I've known Steve for a while, and he will broken record it until everybody listens that, like us, we started our 501c4 to bring things to the public that need to be done. We're you. We just decided to do something. It's not hard. All you need is the drive. You know, you can get your questions answered. Do you have a good heart? Do you want to learn? It's not that hard. I'm on the fire board. Our other board member is the chairman of another fire board. You know, Steve's been on the school board for quite a while. Some of the other people that we know are on school boards. You have a good heart. You want to see what's best for your community. Get up and do something. If you need help, my goodness, there's a lot of us will help you. We will totally push you in the right direction. So what'd you think about Mr. Austin? Next up, we have Kristen Pruitt. She is Turning Point Action. She is the Community Coalition Field Representative. So your coalitions, if you want to start a mom's coalition, a dad's coalition, you want to, and they're the ones that watch the school boards, right? If you want to start a faith, coalition, anything like that, this is your lady. She is your community coalition lady. She's the one who will get you organized in what it is you want to do, which is also a voting block, by the way, right? It's also a block of loud voices if somebody does something on a school board you don't like, right? The Moms Coalition walks in there and says, oh, I don't think so, right? This is your lady. Please welcome Kristen.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. As Debbie said, I'm Kristen. I'm the field representative for Turning Point Action. I'm on the 501c4 side, so I get to do all the fun political stuff. But I am not high schools and colleges, because Lord knows it's been a few years since I've been in a high school or a college. So I manage volunteers. I manage everything south of Phoenix from California to New Mexico, and I oversee New Mexico as well, so me and Austin have a lot of the same areas. I heard a lot of you talk about getting involved in different things you can do. There's not a single thing that we offer that you can't get involved in somehow. People of faith, we have a faith coalition. Less than 50% of people of faith vote. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Less than 50% of people of faith vote. We were called to be the light of the world, the salt of the world, the hands and feet of our faith, and we are not showing up. Moms Coalition. We have moms that we talked about school boards, talking about what's going on in the schools, yet one of the more recent election cycles, there was only 28% of Republican moms of school-aged children that voted. Think about what's on the ballot. You got school boards, superintendents, Department of Education. All of those things are on those ballots, and we do not have moms showing up. School board meetings. We went to a school board meeting recently, Amphi School Board, and what they were doing is they were allowing young men to use the women's facilities if they identified as such. And then if there were any young ladies that did not feel comfortable with that, they were being told that they needed to sign a waiver that they were the one with the problem so that they could use the nurse's bathroom, okay? So if you're a young lady and didn't want to use the bathroom with someone who identified as, then you had to sign, the child had to sign the waiver to use the nurse's bathroom. So we showed up together. We put out a flyer and said, hey, come join us, let's defend our girls and make sure that they're allowed to use, and that the opportunity to use the alternative bathroom was put on the child that did not feel comfortable using their own, right? Okay. We showed up. Superintendent knew we were going to be there. The superintendent was somebody who said that they were conservative. Opened up the meeting with, we're going to respect everybody's opinions. Everybody has a right to free speech. Then he went on a 20-minute slideshow presentation about how we were racist hypocrites. So we need people to show up. This is why we show up. We need to have a voice back in our community. Moms Coalition, Faith Coalition members showed up to that. We support one another. And we really just make sure that you're not fighting issues alone. You're a lot more likely to go do school board meetings and other opportunities like that, go knock your neighbor's door, if you have somebody with you. So we build up that community. We do a lot of fun social events, but we also do the hard work and talk politics, do some training, all of that fun stuff. So I have a table out there. I have Faith Coalition, Moms Coalition, Healthy Americans, Latinos, and we're starting a Classic Americans for the 55 plus. Would love for you to get involved in any of those. But I do want to take a little bit of time to address something that is a big push for us right now. Is this mobile? Am I stuck? No? Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to walk around for a quick second, and I'm going to show you guys a picture that I pulled up. I hope you guys can see it well enough. I know it's small. Okay? This is Miss Lakeisha Alston, okay, North Carolina. She just won state senate, okay? Won state senate. She ran as a Republican. She is a lifetime Democrat. She ran as a Republican. She ran unopposed as a Republican. That means not a single Republican stood up and said, I'm going to run for that position. Okay, what you see there is a combination of two things. You see a failure of the Republican Party leadership, and you see a failure of education on the parts of the voters. Voters have gotten into it. I'm grateful that they vote, but sometimes they go and vote and then they will circle whatever has an R next to their name. Okay? We talked a little bit, a couple of people talked about stepping up representation. Who's happy that we're a representative republic in this country? Everybody should. Yeah, we're a representative. Everything should come back to the voters. We should be the determining factor of our leadership. We should pick the people that represent us. Right now, and you talked about running for school board. I'm going to ask you to run for office, and I'm going to ask you to run as a precinct committeeman. How many people know what a precinct committeeman is? A few of you. Okay. Precinct committeeman is the smallest increment of elected representative. You are a representative of your own neighborhood, okay? Very small section. Representatives or precinct committeemen vote for LD leadership, legislative district leadership. They vote for county leadership. They vote for bylaws, the rules of which the Republican Party runs on. And they vote for state committeemen. State committeemen then vote for state Republican leadership. When you have good party leadership, you have good candidate support, you have better candidates. So I just lined up a woman to become a precinct committeeman in her neighborhood. And there were 13 openings in her neighborhood for precinct committeeman. There's one PC for every 125 voters. So the more Republican voters, the more PCs you're allowed to have in your neighborhood. She has 13 openings. She was the only one that's filed so far. That left 12 openings. 12 openings times 125 people means that there are 1,500 Republican voters in her neighborhood alone that is not going to get party representation. When you have precinct committeemen, The state committeeman is based off of the number of elected PCs. So there's one state committeeman for every 3 PCs. I know that's a lot of information. But if you have 12 openings, that means that not only is 1,500 Republicans not getting representation or have a voting voice through their precinct committeeman, they've also lost 4 state committeeman representatives. Okay? So no state representation, no county representation, no LD leadership votes, and there's not enough people to educate the voters in the neighborhood to let them know when elections are happening and who's on the ballot. Without state committeemen, without PCs, without good voter education, you get Miss Lakeisha Alston. This can happen here. We're dangerously close, especially in Pima County. We need to step up. I am promising everybody that becomes a PC that I am being a support. I'm going to have weekly Zoom meetings where I'm going to give new PCs. I do all the precinct committeeman training in Pima County. Happy to train you on how to become a precinct committeeman. The smallest requirement is that you go to 2 meetings once every 2 years to vote for LD leadership and county leadership. From there, it's you volunteering to help educate your voters in your neighborhood about what's going on in your community and upcoming elections. So I have a table out there. There's nothing that, like I said earlier, nothing that you guys can do that we can't help you with. We can help you get engaged one way or another. So I would love for you to come have a conversation with me. I want to understand what's important to you guys, and then I want to help guide you and take the next steps and give you all of the resources that you need to be successful in that. So I don't want to take too much time. Does anybody have any questions for me regarding coalitions, regarding being precinct committeemen, or anything else? You guys have any questions? That's a lot of information. Yeah, you're a PC. Who else is a PC in here? We got a couple PCs. I'm a PC.
I'm a state PC.
You're a state committeeman?
I'm a state committeeman.
Oh, awesome. Now's open election, so if you haven't done your paperwork to reinstall.
Done and done.
Awesome. Good for you. Marty, I know Kara, Bruce, quite a few that aren't in this room are PCs. Eric?
The girls are right outside.
Locally, just for Palmerine, I'm a PC. I would love to get, we need 6 seats filled. You really don't have to do much to be a PC. And I have a brand new house. I would love to have meetings where we're watching the monthly meetings of Cochise County so you can laugh your butts off at what's really going on. But if you want my name and my number, we need 6 people to fill these seats just in Palmerine. Okay, so you see me? You can give her your information and I will contact you, your name and your number. We need people to fill their seats. Debbie, how many years has it been since Palmerine has been filled? Never.
Well, the ones that were filled did absolutely nothing. They were just sending proxies. So
This is the problem.
They were not engaged at all.
This is the problem we have with the Cochise County Republican Party and many county Republican committees. And if you have people locally who are rhinos, that guy talked about Siscomani being a rhino. If you don't start from a PC, the people who move up are the people who you don't want in higher positions. So, join me.
Are you familiar, does St. David have any representation? The St. David area?
But unfortunately, what's been going on locally is it's the same people year after year after year after year after year. They don't go to meetings, they're not engaged, they send proxies whenever there's a vote, they have no idea what's going on. That gives one person 4 votes, and they manipulate everything the way they want it at the county level. Instead of it being
Would love good grassroots people to step up and take care of this stuff. Yes, sir.
Firstly, I'd like to say I'm proud to say that I'm non-PC, but I'm talking about something else. The other group that does not vote, aside from, you know, people of faith, is the Second Amendment community.
Yeah, yeah.
And we need to do more about that.
That's a big issue, is that gun owners are a tough group to get registered to vote. And it's backwards because they need their good representation in order to protect those rights and to keep that voice. Because every time Republicans, especially, I live down in Pima County, I live in Tucson. I'm actually a member at large for the Pima County Republican Party. So when I first became a PC, and this is why I'm passionate about it and taking my time to address this issue, is 2023, the end of 2023. I had a job where I drove around the city a lot, and I got tired of seeing the city that I grew up in. Grew up same house all my life till I moved out with my husband. Drugs, homeless, garbage, the road conditions, everything you can think of was falling apart. Well, everything that you can think of you see is falling apart leads back to political decisions and politics. And so all these people that say politics, I don't do politics, hit a pothole. Right. And it did you, right? I have a bad tire sensor now because I had hit a pothole, okay? So I said, well, I can't complain if I'm not willing to do something. So I showed up at the Pima County Republican Party, took a tin of cookies and a Christmas ornament because it was Christmas time. And they said, well, you need to be a PC. I don't know what a PC is. It's 3 days before Christmas. Let's talk after the holidays. Sat down, had a 2-hour conversation. I said, okay, became a precinct committeeman. Then nothing. Nobody really reached out to me. There wasn't a mechanism in place to engage at that point. So I said, okay, well, this isn't really what I wanted. I want to do stuff. And so then I ended up meeting different people, and I ended up volunteering for the Faith Coalition. And so I was really gung-ho to help with the Faith Coalition and Turning Point. And so I said, well, I need this, I'm going to plan this, I'm going to bring these people together. And one thing led to another, and, you know, what is it, 2 years later, I'm member at large for the Pima County Republican, and Turning Point had reached out to me and offered me a position in this July of 2024. So right in the primaries of a presidential election, it was baptism by fire, I tell you what. Drinking out of a fire hose, hair was on fire. But you know what, we did the hard work. And Cheryl knows, because me and her were out at a Trump rally at 108 degrees and cooking. But I was passionate about because I didn't have the support that I needed from the Republican Party as it was at that moment. And so I said, okay, I'm going to fix this. So now I designed and teach all of the PC training for the Pima County Republican Party. And so that's why I'm telling you, if you sign up to be a PC, let me be a support for you. Let me give you the tools you need. And let's equip our voters to be the voices and take back control over their own local leadership. It starts locally. So thank you guys. Any other questions? Yes, in the back corner.
How does PC representation work in unincorporated and unnamed areas?
It's
Whose address is Benson? We don't even have a name. Like Whetstone's unincorporated, but it's called Whetstone. I didn't hear her, I'm sorry.
It's broken down by precinct, so it's a state level thing. So precincts aren't in a specific city or a town or else. So it's by precinct, so it's by a voting population, and then it goes from there. So from the precinct, you vote for your legislative district. If it's broken down by legislative district in depending on the population. Some counties function as the county level and not as LD, so it depends on where you're at. I can help you with that. Like Pinal County doesn't function as LDs, they function as a county,
Okay.
right? So in that case, a PC votes for their county leadership and bylaws. Bylaws being the rules of which the party leadership should function by, right? Should rule by. I don't want to say rule, but that's their guidelines. And then they vote for state committeemen, and then the state committeemen vote for state leadership. This is all in the party.
But do
Democrats
we have
the same thing.
PCs over
Yes.
there?
You will.
Because like there's St. David PCs, there's Pomeranian PCs, you know how many seats are available, and we don't even have a name of what we are.
So I would look up your address, find out what precinct you're in, and then we'd find out from, based on the county, how many, the county elections office will be able to tell you how many precincts you're allowed, or PCs you're allowed in your precinct. But there's not an area, there's 1,666 precincts in the state of Arizona. 743 of those are in Maricopa, which means that nearly half of all of the voice in the state of Arizona resides in Maricopa. That's why we need good grassroots rural people to step up and take on these roles so that you have a voice back in your Republican Party.
That's interesting. I've never even heard of a PC.
Well, I'd love to talk to you more about it. Come see me at the table and grab my business card and we can have a conversation, or you can sign the paper right there. Okay, I do have the forms. April 6th is the deadline to get in a write-in candidate form for precinct committeemen. Okay, so we have a week from Monday to get as many PCs signed up as possible. So again, would love to talk to you guys. Any other questions? All right. Well, I'm going to turn it back over to Debbie, who is going to introduce our next and I think last speaker.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
So yeah, that's part of the problem is people haven't heard of PCs because the word's not getting out there. That's part of the reason that we are not associated with the Republican Party. We are MAGA America First, and we are a Turning Point Alliance partner. Turning Point offers the structure. If you want to volunteer, where your time makes a difference and where you feel like you've accomplished something. And Turning Point offers that structure no matter what part you want to do, whether it's the school chapters, whether it's the coalitions, whether it's the voter outreach like Cheryl is going to speak about in just a minute. So that's part of the reason that we're involved, as a Turning Point Alliance partner, because that is who is offering the structure. So your volunteering time is valuable. Nobody wants to volunteer where they don't see any results, right? No. Why would you? Turning Point offers the results. I'm going to throw an idea for the men's ministry for the coalition. One of the shooting ranges down in Phoenix is a Turning Point Alliance partner as well. And so what they do is the church security groups, because church security groups are pretty much organized now and they train regularly now. So what they do is they will meet every other Sunday or something every once a month, something. I don't know what their schedule is for sure. At the gun range there in the Phoenix area, they will do their church security training with all the other groups, and then afterwards they will have men's ministry. And one of the things that they told me they focus on is teaching you how to be a good husband, how to be a good father, how to be a good godly man. And that's one of the things that the men's ministry with Turning Point Faith focuses on. And that's how they do it in the most men way possible. So, it's not a stuffy, it is what you want it to be. The women do all kinds of things that are fun. And they will learn to karate chop you in self-defense as well. It is what you want it to be. It's not a stuffy thing. So Kristen can give you all of the details on what everybody does. And believe me, it is a fellowship thing no matter what the coalition is that you choose to do and how you choose to do it. It's always fellowship. And I know this church especially is very big on fellowship. And this is just another way to do it, as well as being able to have a voice in your local goings-on in the political realm. So our next speaker is Miss Cheryl Caswell. She is Turning Point USA, which is the C4. And Turning Point Action. What did I say? I did say USA? I didn't mean to say USA. That's why I said it. And she is your voter outreach lady. Now, that is who Eric got in touch with, and that's why he's doing everything he's doing. I know that there should be a couple of the other ladies here. Okay, you want to stand up, please? All of the ladies who are working with Cheryl now. These are our voter outreach. They're the ones that are going to knock on your door, and they're going to say, why haven't you voted for this yet? Do you need help? Do you need me to get you to the voting place? Do you need me to take you somewhere? Do you have questions about something? They're the ones that are going to knock on your door and say, hey, you're not voting. You're an American. What are you doing? So these are the ladies that will go out, and they've been sharing the posters for this event as well. So they're the ones that are very much voter outreach, reaching the people, talking to the people, and making a difference. They're the ones that are getting people out there and encouraged. So I will turn the floor over to Ms. Cheryl Caswell right now. She is the ballot chase manager for this area.
And now I gotta fix my Bluetooth. Because I come with pops. We're gonna shake it up a little.
She's also a candidate, and between hiring for the ballot chase, people, she has 5 counties that you're hiring for. What are you doing? Is it the 3?
3 counties.
3 counties that she's hiring for Turning Point. She's also a candidate for 5 counties, and so she's got a lot of events going on. She's got a lot of interviews going on, and so I kept telling her, did you call Bill to see if you could hook up to the No. I forgot all about it. Because she was also in Graham County doing things last night as well. So she's a very busy lady, very involved. She will educate you to no end. Your tablet is going to make me angry. There we go.
We're gonna vote for Cheryl for LD19 and get rid of those old farts up in Phoenix.
Very, very knowledgeable lady.
I'm serious. So I
Here.
am a door knocker. And so we're gonna show you a bit of door knocking. So I'm gonna be clipped.
Do you want to be?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will need to move around, you know me. And I'm gonna try to do this in our short 20 minutes here.
There we go.
This is what I do for a living, and I love my job. First of all, I will ring your doorbell, and then I will knock. And I want to remind you of the song, because this is the way we used to be when I was growing up, right? There was someone knocking at the door, and there was someone ringing the bell. And my mom would say, go get that door and let them in. So this is music I listen to when I'm out in the field, how I get our ballot chasers going. So this is exactly what we do. And I'm going to show you how we do that in person now. Ding dong. Hi, Christopher. My name's Cheryl Caswell, and I see that you're flying the beautiful American flag on our 250th anniversary, but it could use a little help, looks a little tattered. So I'm with Turning Point Action, and we do a program called Fly the Flag. And I am gifting you a flag today for our 250th anniversary, so please feel free to put that up and replace your flag on the pole. Thank you so much for flying our Old Glory during our 250th. It's a pleasure to meet you. Have a wonderful day. You too. That's how easy. That's one approach. Yesterday I was out in Graham County and I was ringing doorbells. Knock, knock. Hi, my name's Cheryl. We're having our first annual Palm Sunday picnic just over at the Graham County Fairgrounds tomorrow, and I'm just here to invite you and your family to come to an event. Look forward to seeing you there. Thank you. These are the things that we do. One of the other ways that we connect, we're building relationships of trust. And so I'm going to ring another bell. Knock, knock. Hi, I'm Cheryl. I see that you've got our beautiful Old Glory flying in our 250th anniversary, and I just stopped by to say thank you for flying Old Glory and showing your patriotism. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I started as a precinct committeeman. That's where I started, and I love my job as a precinct committeeman. I love talking to my neighbors. I love sharing with them. I love solving problems. Whether it's a school bus transportation issue, and I'm connecting them with the school district. Whether it's a trash collection issue at an HOA, I solve problems for people. I do that every day. I'm a connector. I'm a community connector. And because of our community connections, we've been able to build a community here in Cochise County over the past 2 years that Kristen and I have worked together. And now you have coalitions in Graham County and in Cochise County that are starting. These are super important for our success. There's no way that that you cannot stay uninvolved anymore. We're going to be out there, we're going to be finding you, and we're going to be finding a way to get you all plugged in. As a precinct committeeman, I also found that there wasn't a lot of resources at the Republican Party, but I'm a mom of triplets. My children will be turning 22 on the 3rd of July, and they lost half of their high school years in COVID. And so that was one of my reasons why. They are my reason why. Trevor, Laney, and Connor, I call them TLC. And during that time, I think the only COVID gift I got was training 3 children how to drive during COVID. The streets were empty. It was really a nice time to teach them how to drive. I really couldn't get over the 3rd one. Hubby had to help me with that one. I also decided then I was going to take it even a step further. I ran for the Pima County Republican Party and was the 3rd vice chairman of the Pima County Republican Party. I'm also a state committeeman, and this is my 2nd term as your Republican Party of Arizona, CD6 member at large for your party at the state level. And so I have pushed and pushed and pushed. And then it was Charlie. It was Charlie. And after my first night of training, I became first a ballot chaser. After my first night of training, I sat in my hotel room and I cried all night long. This is exactly what I had been waiting and working all these years for. It's finally here. I was hearing and seeing the engagement I had been waiting for. And one of the things I want to remind you today is and I've served as your legislative district chairman, and I continue to serve in many of those roles today. And now as a ballot chase manager for the Gadsden region. But I want to remind you of where we were just about 7-8 months ago when Charlie was taken from us, right? It was 6 months now. And I want to remind you about what happened immediately afterwards. We had beautiful things happening in our community. We had revival happening in our community. We had prayer groups just springing up. We had college students getting together. I don't know of a community that did not have some kind of a memorial service, come together, grieve together, mourn together. And here we are today, where we are probably one of the most attacked organizations out there in social media. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because we built the machine to compete with the Democrats. This is why. Remember that time of revival. I want to come back to that time of revival again. So remember, when you are successful, when you are doing the right things, the fake news media, the social media, the shills and the trolls, what are they going to do? They're going to try to distract you, right? Put a bunch of noise. We stay focused. So let me bring you to our Chase the Vote focus now. As you've probably read a lot of the words already up there, we have a disengaged in community now. People are not engaged in civic duty, and that is exactly what we're trying to do. And they're tired of recycled candidates. So when Charlie pushed me even further, I became a candidate for office, yes. I am a candidate for office for your state house for Legislative District 19, House of Representatives. I'd be honored to earn your vote. Today, my hat is here as Turning Point. But this has been by design, right? Leaders have failed, we the people, and that power structure. It's time for us to get back involved because they've done a lot of this without your informed consent. Many of your elected officials have the power of appointment to your Election Integrity Commission, your Planning and Zoning Commission, your Library Commission. This is where you see these policies funnel right up. This is why we need you to run for local office. It's not just school board, it's fire board. Ms. Wise here serves on the Mescal J6 Fire Board.
So does Bruce, he's the chairman.
Yes.
Or another one.
And also, it's water districts. What are we talking about in Cochise County all the time? Water, water, water. I, for one, am sick and tired of handouts for Wall Street and Phoenix. So now's the time, and today's the turning point. And this area, we have been renamed to the Gadsden region. I love it. Yes, don't tread on me. And we can move to the next slide, please. So CTV, or Chase the Vote, is a long-term infrastructure, community, and neighborhood involvement. It's the largest full-time ballot chasing, not ballot harvesting, not ballot harvesting. Boots on the ground army, and Turning Point has created this after extensive studies of what the opposition has done and what they've built. In fact, the name of that is called Arabella. Arabella is what the Democrats have with banking, 501c3s, 501c4s, and they have full-time people out there almost all the time through the labor unions and such, out there on the ground, always working. The Republican Party has not had this type of infrastructure until Turning Point. Our full-time staff will be assigned territories in key precincts, and they're targeting about 2,000 to 3,000 low propensity voters, and I will define those for you in just a moment. We build relationships, relationships of trust. Our top-rated data team identifies these Republicans. They've downloaded them into our app, and we utilize tools at the door to knock doors on our devices. They will lead me right to the Republicans in the neighborhood. It's that easy. Our application can be used by any one of you to connect in your community as well. You can download it and find the first 15 Republicans wherever you are in the state, or Wisconsin, or any other state for that matter. So you can connect with people every day in your community that think like you, invite them to events, or invite them to church service. Next slide, please. I'm not reading you slides. People read me slides all the time. So looking up to the midterm elections, what are we doing? Well, we've estimated 26 to 27% of people will not be voting. And historical figures, turnout shows us about 73%. Well, it's probably even more disengaged because we've had so many election cycles. In Benson, you will be having a special election in between now and our primary. So we focus predominantly on cultivating relationships at difficult doors. And the earlier we get a ballot chaser on the ground, in the precinct, talking to people, and the more success we have. It takes probably 5 to 6 touches to get someone to move. So our comprehensive operation in Arizona has the potential to turn out.
By not moving from the house, but.
No, move from spectator to engaged, right? So we're going to turn out nearly 340,000 chaseable ballots in this state with a fully funded ballot chaser program, and they're going to be strategically placed throughout our state of Arizona. And I'm happy to come and talk about this in any community if anyone is interested. Next slide. What is a chaseable ballot? It's a ballot that has been identified as one of 3 tags. A low propensity registered Republican. 2, a new Republican that was registered after 2022. Or 3, a low propensity Republican that leans independent. And it's always a challenge to re-engage these voters because they are disengaged for a reason, but we keep showing up, we keep providing resources, we are constituent services for the Republican Party. Our team hates to lose. Everybody loves to win. We hate to lose. We work harder than any other organization to win. So what is a low propensity voter? Very important for you to understand because we're not hitting the 4x4 voter, or what they would term as a 4x4 voter. That's someone that votes every election. No, we're chasing low propensity voters. So that's a voter that has voted in 2 or fewer of the last 4 elections, or a voter who has voted in 1 or fewer of the last 2 midterm elections. And our data team compares midterm to midterm and a presidential to a presidential, because those 2 turnouts are very different. And for candidates like me, our election is the primary. You will lose good candidates in a primary election. And although it's not on my next slide, why is that so important this year? Well, Arizonans aren't really prepared for a July primary, but that's what we have. Our August primary has been changed to July 21st. That means ballots are going to be dropping and in your mailbox June 24th. And I know a lot of people have plans for a 250th. So your neighbors, your friends, and your family need to make a plan to vote. And yes, you can have a ballot sent to you at your summer home, but you must call and request it as a temporary change of address. So you can do that if you're traveling and your friends and neighbors, because I will tell you, election mail is not legally forwarded. You cannot legally forward any election mail. So if you have your mail forwarded to you at another location, you will not receive a ballot. You must ask that it be mailed to you in that. So I'm going to skip this slide because this is what Kristen has went over about, and you can see Kristen's name up there. She is working with volunteers that are going to be working with the 4x4s and 3x4s. And those volunteers usually work with our Super Chase precincts. And they utilize the same apps and tools, but they use a different list of voters. The people that I employ will be going to the most difficult voters, and they're supplied a specific list of voters. Next slide, please. We have many directors in the state. The state director is Lacey Nagao, and I see some typos, so. Our deputy director, Ricky Guthridge, I watched this kid grow from a college Republican at the U of A. He is now my director. I'm very proud of him. Also, our senior ballot chase manager is Mindy Little. We have ballot chase managers, myself in the Gadsden region, 1 in Mount Lemmon, 1 in Marana, 1 in the Santa Rita region, and we even have added 1 in Yuma. 5 ballot chase managers with at least a team of 20 ballot chasers each. So we're going to have approximately 65 full-time employees in southern Arizona alone. And in the entire state of Arizona, we're going to hire up to 565 full-time employees with 538 territories, chasing 317,000 ballots in 27 regions. Our region, the Gadsden region. The Gadsden region will cover Cochise, Graham, and Greenlee precincts. Next slide. This will give you an idea of the work we have ahead of us. We will be chasing in 20 territories, 20 ballot chasers. 53 precincts will be covered. 9,550 ballots is our goal. We'll have 21 full-time employees just in the Gadsden region alone working on your midterm efforts. Cochise County will require 14 full-time ballot chasers. Graham County, 5, and Greenlee, 2. And I am the manager on the boots on the ground with them daily, helping them. What is a ballot chase manager? And that is our next slide. Thank you, sir. It's an expert in their field, assigned to their precincts. We have specifically provided resource and lists for them to get in touch and connect with those neighbors. We're going to be guiding them throughout the election cycle. Sometimes we are the crazy group. We like to have a lot of fun and chase the vote because we want to make voting fun again. So we invite people locally to a BYOB party. And no, I don't mean beer. I mean bring your own ballot. Last year, last election, we had a 2-page ballot. Many people were really confused on the propositions, and so we held ballot parties to just go over information, provided the booklets, candidates, all kinds of information just to be that resource, and heck, we'll even drive you to the poll. Next slide, please. So qualifications for a great candidate for a ballot chase representative Is a door knocker willing to have conversations with voters? I am a big talker, so trying to get my time in a few minutes, I'm sorry, I'll be running over a bit. So we're needing to meet face to face. Those are the goals. I'm not just having people knock a door and drop a lit. We're not a lit drop group. No, we are there to build a relationship with that voter. There's a voter in Sierra Vista that I visit regularly, that I met with my friend Randy Limbach. She is 90-some years old now, Elaine. She'd gotten a lot of trouble because she started sweeping her driveway in 108 degrees, but then she started sweeping the street and everyone else's driveway, so we get a call every now and then to come and get Elaine, and the caretaker keeps thinking I bring the broom. I have not given her a broom. She keeps finding brooms. I don't know where she finds them. So we keep checking on our voters. We need someone that's technology proficient because you'll be using your laptop and devices to get to your voters and to also keep track of the information that we have. You'll need a smartphone for texting and for the applications, and we also use Telegram as our main form of communication between each other. A laptop is used with Google Chrome because we don't just stop there. We're tracking our ballot chasers at the door, how many times they've been to the door, what information they're getting at the door, so that I can follow up with them another time. We might decide that we're going to work on a project and say, okay, how many people in your neighborhood had an American flag flying? And they may have that metric already noted. That gives us a point to go back to them and actually follow up. We need reliable transportation. Although we're hiring representation right in the precincts, there is some travel in a rural community. So we will need some reliable transportation, and I'm sorry, I cannot account for the condition of the roads. I know we had a fabulous ballot chaser that was down in the Hereford area, and a really difficult area, that was traveling down roads that became washes and chased by many dogs. But Lynn was a fabulous chaser, and she helped us succeed. Without the chase team that I had in the last election, we wouldn't even be speaking here today. We'd all be fighting for our very lives. And with half of the team being hired later in the primary last time, we actually chased over 10,000 ballots in this community to the ballot box to get President Trump in office. We're looking for team players. We're all for one and one for all. I'm a bit mixed up on mine. Next slide, please. So we need flexibility because we're a team that's an army. We get deployed to the field. So I had to change up some of my plans next week, and I'm headed up to Chase for Salt River Project, a private utility election that is so important to our state and to the Valley residents because it provides water and power. We are all in on the Salt River Project because our farmers in this state put their land up as the collateral to build that canal system. In fact, it's the reason why Phoenix has its name. Phoenix used to be called Pumpkinville. But because we used the canals and the farmers and ranchers donated their land, the Hohokam canals were used and the Phoenix rose from the ashes of the Hohokam. And that is the history there. We're looking for people that are independent. I'm not a micromanager, so we're looking for people that'll be independent and also can stay motivated, but also work with the team because we work together. We need people that understand the mission and goals, that will work with management and the structure to be coachable and receptive to feedback because we provide a lot of tools, but we're always on the go and things change and pivot very quickly. We need courageous self-managers that are resilient team players, and we will accomplish those goals. If you have a desire to make a difference for Arizona and you are relentless in the pursuit of winning and you hate to lose, then this is the opportunity for you. This is not a spectator moment in American history. This is the moment where the patriots are going to decide whether we complain or we organize. Turning point action is where America First movement stops talking and starts working. If you believe this country is worth fighting for, we don't need you on the sidelines, we need you on the ground. History doesn't remember the spectators, it remembers the people who showed up. If that's you, our team is of interest And we are waiting for you, and I'll be right over there after this meeting. Now, I have a slide up that I'll explain in just a minute. This is something that Tyler Boyer teaches about our Arabella machine and how we created the structure. So Tyler Boyer is there with his hands up. He leads Turning Point Action. He used to be the Maricopa County chairman of the Republican Party. So first we built this movement to rebuild the conservative political movement from the grassroots up. I believe in a grassroots foundation. In fact, if you read the law of our legislative district and the way our party structure is formed in law, it starts with you as a precinct committeeman. You are the foundation of our party and one of the most important things. Secondly, we step in to do the job the Republican Party is failing to do right now. Year after year after year, we've waited, and we said, someone has to do something. Someone is here now, and we're right here in Cochise County, ready to help you. 3, we elect pro-America candidates to all levels of government. We really need to be very, very mindful of the people we're elected to office, because I've seen a lot of good people elected to even local leadership because of a good speech, but they are really not doing the work. And 4, hold our elected leaders accountable. And one of those ways you can do that is by using our app. This is one of my favorite tools that you can use, and you can share with others. So while you're on here, you can knock doors, you can make phone calls, you can text, but there's this button over here, it's called the scorecard. And in the scorecard, you can see how your legislators are voting, what they're voting on, and how much of a patriot they are. So use our Turning Point scorecard in this next election to see where your elected officials are. And before I end, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
And on our website, under voter resources, it's one of those things I get tired of looking at myself. So if you go down to the bottom, it'll say the elected scores. And you can click on that, it'll take you right to Turning Point's website, and you can look up all of your elected officials as far as your state and your state and county and the federal.
So one of the things I'd like to introduce you to is the people that are in this room here today that are going to help you build your community. And I think it's great to stand up, but I'd like to ask them to come to the front of the room right now, because I'd like to introduce you to them. Jennifer Price. Jennifer Price is our Benson Ballot Chase representative. She is handling our Benson J6 Mescal area. Welcome, Jennifer. Lacey Settlemeyer. Lacey Settlemeyer is now handling our Whetstone, Huachuca City area. Welcome, Lacey Settlemeyer. My other ballot chaser from Graham County is not here at the moment, but she was headed here because her grandchildren are playing in Benson for the grand opening baseball today. So we have our Graham County representative. Unfortunately, she's not here at the moment. And our newest new hire that's headed off to training. You've met him already. Please welcome again, Eric Levy. We aren't done building the team. I'm very excited to have these quality people on the team, but we're growing already. So these people have come to this meeting today to meet their team, and I'd like to recognize them for being here today. Tanya, are you here today? I thought I saw her come in. No? Tanya will be handling one of our communities in the Hereford area. Jackie is going to, stand up, Jackie. Jackie's going to be handling our Fort Huachuca area down in Sierra Vista. And also Christopher Bossy. Christopher will be working in our Wilcox community. And they will be headed out for training. Please come on up, guys, and we're going to get a team picture all together while we're here for the first time all together. So I'm going to stand in the middle. You guys come on in, too.
No, the media cannot take pictures of them. They have to go through Turning Point.
This is the team we've started to build.
Debbie, you should be up there too.
I'm not. No. This is their team. Thank you.
Come on, smile.
These are the people that are going to be knocking doors, making these relationships in your community. They're people just like you. So please, if you know anyone that's interested, please stop by our booth. And also, if you see one of my friends knocking on your door, let them in. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You can have a seat. Is there any questions I can answer before I leave? I know we ran a few minutes over, so I don't want to take too much time, but if there's any specific questions that I can address at all, I'd be happy to.
How's your campaign going?
Fabulous, but we'll talk about that another time.
Wrong hat. She's a Turning Point right now.
I just wanted to say something. I wanted to follow up on something that Cheryl said. You know, like, I had no clue what Turning Point really did. I had no idea that there was a Turning Point action. All I saw was just Charlie, doing his Prove Me Wrong tour, and that was all I knew. And once I really started looking at what both of the organizations did and really understood how important, and that's an understatement, I would say essential to the conservative movement, both of those organizations are, it was like, wow. And it is an absolute shame what is going on with both of those organizations being attacked. But like Cheryl said, it's because it's that important. That's why people are going after it so much. Because if they can kill it, which they're not going to, that would be a devastating blow to our movement. So take a little bit of time and find out what these organizations really do. And you can get involved. And it's really on us. Thanks.
Yes, and keep that in mind. Remember, they took that moment of revival we had. We had a revival happening in this country, remember? So keep that in mind. They are out to take that voice away from us, and we need to resist. Absolutely. So I call this rally today, right here, the King of Kings rally. Thank you all.
Thank you, dear. So when I was the Cochise Republican chairman for a short time, because I really didn't want to be there after some of the things I saw, Turning Point sent me for training. For 3-4 days of training, I was one of 4 chairmen in the entire state that was sent to Vegas for training. And we learned all about the Arabella structure. And once you get into how well organized the money funneling is from the outside foreign agencies into the NGOs, into the C3s that go to the C4s, and all of the way that they have it set up, it's terrifying. That's part of why Doge was so important, because Doge was on that, and they got the entire setup of who was funding who, coming from Neville in Shanghai and Soros and the rest into all of the agencies that are funneling the money to take down this country in your own communities. And that was one of the things I learned about 3 years ago. And that's another reason that I'm like, this is where I need to be. This is where the things are happening. This is where the boots on the ground are happening. This is where the results are. That we have no more time to play around. And so that's why, before I ever left as chairman, I'd already purchased the name Cochise County Conservatives. My kid, who was actually a teacher for other developers, was building the website, and I already was like, this is what I'm going to be doing with the Turning Point. And that's when I called Tyler. I'm like, I don't know anything about 501s. What am I doing? He goes, 4. Cool. And that's what I did. I'm like, by the way, what is that? How can we do that? So anyway, this is why, of all the community things that we're involved with, as, like I said, getting medical training through the fire departments, getting, them interacting with the public. This is one of the big things that we do as well. So anyway, what did you guys think about the speakers? They know their stuff. They do know their stuff. Anyway, everybody's going to be meeting out here. If there's any questions you have for me, throw them out there. Hopefully not, because hopefully all of them have been answered. I want to thank the church for hosting this today. And I'm done. If you
Okay.
take over, I'll shut up.
First of all, we're really, really glad you're here today. You're always welcome. If you need our facility, just let us know. We'll be here for you. It's time to change who we are as a nation. And this is the time. I end almost every sermon Sunday morning with the word, well, what are you going to do today to further God's kingdom? It's time to change our country. Amen? Let's all stand. We have refreshments for you. Let me pray for us before we depart today. And again, God bless you. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be joined together today, Lord. We have a commonality. I pray that commonality would be your spirit, and I pray, Lord, it would be a call to us to take over our nation and take it back for you. Help us, Father, as we endeavor to change the thoughts of people around us. Help us to help them see the light. You are the only light. And we thank you, Lord, for all these folks involved here in this program. I pray your blessings on them and their families. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. God bless.